What is going on, guys? Today we built a shed. So this was a massive project. It took me a total of like 9 working days. It was a $9,500 project. Definitely the biggest project I've ever completed. And as you can see, I had a bunch of guys work with me. So it was much more involved, much more than just your standard roof and gutter job. But how this job came about was I was actually doing a roof and gutter job with my other business. And I noticed my customer had this foundation set up, and I was like, oh, you guys looking to build a shed? And he's like, yeah, but the contractor, we haven't been able to get a hold of him. He gave us a quote, but then it's been weeks, and we're trying to get this up now. So I was like, shoot, well, I actually know some guys who do this for a living. Like, that's what their job is. They build sheds. So as you can see, I called them. They came out, and we put the shed up. I was kind of managing the whole project, even though obviously I'm standing around half the time. But I learned a lot. Learned how to do a lot more construction stuff that I've never really known how to do before. But this turned out to be just a really big thing that it was way over my head, but we got it done though. So that was the thing that I was really proud of. We'll stick around to the end. You'll see the finished shed, but that's just something that I want to talk about a little bit. Is I'm not really going to go into like how to build a shed exactly, because there's a lot of other videos, a lot better people out there who are more equipped to teach you how to do it. But I'm just going to kind of share my insights about, making money. Like, is this a good business to get into and all that sort of stuff? And in my opinion, if you could find a way to systematize it, make it a little bit cheaper for to get materials and stuff, then absolutely this would be a great business to get into. Me, myself, I barely made any profit on this because it just took so long. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. Also, we were building this in November when it gets dark at like 4 p.m. So you can't really work very long. We leave at like 8 a.m. But by the time we go to Home Depot and go to Home Depot like 4 times to go get different things, we wouldn't really be able to work for very long, only a few hours per day, it seemed like. But with that being said, if you were able to get this, had everything measured out, and as you can see here, we're putting it up on site. So a lot of the measurements and stuff we had to do there. We had to cut it there. We had to build everything there. So that took so much extra time, because then, we'd have to go back to Home Depot. We'd have to come out. We'd have to cut it. If we needed to get more materials, we'd have to go back out and go get those. So as everything, once everything added up, it was just so much more work that I was expecting. That's why my whole other channel, I'm really talking so much about roof and gutters, is because I've done every other job too. I used to work at, a tire shop, been a fisherman up in Alaska, I've been in the military, done retail, worked as a cook, worked as a server, pretty much every sort of job you could do. And I'm going to be very honest, roof and gutter cleaning is still my favorite work to do, because you can show up to a job and easily make $300, $400, $500 per job, and they only take a few hours usually. So if you're doing things right, which if you're watching the stuff that I put out, you should be doing it right, you can make so much money with very little stress and not nearly as much work. Because obviously this, if we had charged more, had it down more pat on the timing wise, we could have finished it in half the time and charged more. Because the crazy part was, even one of the neighbors had approached me too, and he said that the other main big company in the area, they have a 6-month waiting list putting up sheds like this. And I was like, 6 months, holy crap. So instead of the $9,500 quote, maybe I'll just be like, oh yeah, if you want it done, it'll be like 15 grand if you want it done. To be honest, I don't ever really want to build a shed or be in charge of it. Even though I wasn't the one doing it, I was helping a lot, and I did know how to do some certain things, but it was just so much more work, so much more involved. And then I don't know, I just kind of the stress of not having to worry about rain and getting a project done at a certain time. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if that neighbor contacts me back. My customer too, he really loved the shed. And he said, oh, if you want me to post in our private Facebook group for our neighborhood, we totally can do that. And I was like, let's hold off on that at least maybe until next year, because it's heading into the later part of the year. I don't know when you're going to be watching this video, but it gets dark really soon, and it's also pissing rain most of the time. But yeah, so now we got some other guys out here. They came up from Oregon actually to bring all this material. And so we got the windows in. We're going to get up the roof today, and we're about halfway done here. But yeah, so what else did I want to talk about was, just this was a great project though too, to really push myself and see kind of what I could do. Because one thing that I really like to be is a yes man. If someone asks can you do this? I want to be a yes man and be be the type of man that can get shit done. That's what you want to be known for, is someone who can get things done no matter what. Obviously, you know, if you have a great business and you're already like doing really well, it doesn't really make sense. Like if you're doing a roof and gutter business and someone's like, oh, can you build a deck? You know, maybe don't do that. But like for me, it was a great opportunity to be able to see kind of the shed business and see what it would take to get started, because my customer told me, he's like, we cannot find anyone else to build this shed. Like, we want it done, but like there's no one else that's going to do it. So I was kind of like his last effort, because his last person that he knew would be able to get it done. So, you know, being the type of man that can get things done, that really travels far. And, you know, I think these sort of things have a lot bigger ripple effect than you would think. Also, I mean, I learned a lot more. I have a lot more experience now with all the construction. You see, I put up the roof. I've done this before. I've done roofs, obviously. But, you know, installing the roof was, yeah, definitely, you know, it's a lot of work, but we made some money. And at the end of the day, you know, I think we had a really good product. So I'm really proud of that. But yeah, if you guys are, if you're wondering, you know, how much money you could be making from something like this, I think, yeah, as we mentioned, if you got it down a lot quicker, you know, maybe like half the time, charge a few thousand more, like you could potentially build a shed in like 2-3 days. Like if you had all the materials, had all the stuff, I absolutely think you can make some serious money. But you know, it's really kind of a thing. You have to know the right people too. So that's another really important thing that I wanted to touch on, is being able to manage and get the right people, being a leader and getting the right, like people together is just super important. So being able to just amass that sort of like this team really quickly was another really important skill that I wanted to build. And then one other thing too is just the stress that I noticed. It was, you know, it was hard, like having to just kind of take on this project. But I looking back, it was one of the best things that I've done, because you're never gonna do something hard and be like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. Because I think it really teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you about how much stress you can handle. And as you may know, like the more stress you can tolerate, the more successful you are likely to be as a person. Because if when you have a business, you're taking stress off of somebody. You know, if they need a roof cleaned or if they need a shed built, that puts some sort of stress on them. They're like, oh, don't have the time to do it myself. I can't do it, or I need this done. You know, it's stressful. So when you are a business, you're taking that stress from them. You're like, oh, I will take care of this for you. You know, when you go to a restaurant, someone's like, I'm going to cook this food for you. So you go there to kind of relax, de-stress, and that is a huge part of the experience. So the more stress you can tolerate, the more money you're going to make, the more successful you're going to be. So look for ways that you can take on other people's stress. Look for ways you can solve other people's problems. And, you know, obviously we talk about providing value, but really also, you know, fixing their problems, solving things, and making their lives easier is just a huge part of it. So that is pretty much all I want to talk about in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys learned something about building a shed. But boom, look at that finished shed. Boom. How beautiful it is.
All done.
So like, subscribe, follow, whatever, or not. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.